All right, here we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I gotta clean that up. Cool. First thing that's been happening, it's funny enough, last week I had a slide where frontier models are being banned by the government. And now this week it's like frontier models are like dropping like cats and dogs, basically. So this week has been exciting if y'all have been into this stuff. But basically, Fable 5, which is the latest Claude's model, was out, briefly banned by the government for being too dangerous, and then it came back out. And then, well, since it's come out, everyone's been like, loving it, using it left and right. And soon after, GPT 5.6 dropped like 2-3 days ago with a whole suite of models to compete. And no one knew it was coming, but then suddenly Grok dropped their new model, and it was pre-trained on Cursor's new data, so it's super good and 10 times cheaper than like Fable. And then suddenly Zuck tweeted after like a decade of not tweeting, like, here's my model. 3 years, David says, 3 years, not a decade. And they dropped their model, and it's also like really good, and it's also like 12 times cheaper than Fable or something like that. So they all landed this past week. So if you're a nerdy geek like me, I've just been like token maxing for the past couple of days. So a lot of frontier models are dropping. I think there's this new trend of like government review is going to start kind of becoming like the thing. It's like a little pre-release thing that they do now to make sure it's too safe, not too dangerous, not like nuclear level, nuclear secret level like danger. But yeah, and one of the good things about it, I've been testing Grok, I've been testing Meta, it's really good, good enough that you can use it for a lot of reasoning, and it's much cheaper. So, I think utilizing these different models to figure out how you most token efficiently optimize it by doing different types of orchestration, like let's use Fable as the planner, but then execute with Grok. Things like that has kind of been the new trend. Along those same lines, open source is getting really good. So on top of that, there's a ton of other, primarily Chinese release models, GLM 5.2, Kinnick 2.7, that are also being really, really capable. And you can literally use a lot of the, obviously you can download these open weights on the public and like run it on your own computer. But if you use kind of aggregator APIs like OpenRouter, which Robin just started at, you can access these cheap models and start running them. And they're really good enough as a lot of enterprises have been adopting these because they don't want to spend billions of dollars feeding their token costs to Anthropic. And so they're trying to figure out new composable ways to say, for these easier tasks, use the open source models. For the harder tasks, use state-of-the-art models and do things like that. So costs are going down. A lot of agent, MCP, and work stuff are happening. A lot in one slide, but Hermes is a new personal agent. So when I said earlier, when Robin and I first started our meetup, we first hosted the OpenClaw meetup, which was basically a little personal agent gateway to using different AI models via Telegram, WhatsApp, and things like that. So OpenClaw was all the boom, and now this thing called Hermes came out by Now's Research, and they're getting a lot of traction as they've been kind of the more reliable competitor to OpenClaw. So people have been using that for all sorts of different Slack bot and Discord bot integrations. Because of that, Codex and Claude are stepping up. Codex is the kind of code branch of OpenAI, I guess. And they started adding a lot of agentic capabilities to their apps. So you can do a lot of loop engineering, we call it, of like autonomously running AI until the task finish and things like that. Because they want to compete with these new capabilities from these open source kind of harnesses. And 2 days ago, alongside the new models, GPT Work was announced by OpenAI, which is their competitor to Claude Cowork, basically using GPT, latest models to do non-technical focused work that are mostly automating work tasks at scale. I tried it, it's actually really dope, so I really recommend you try it. GPT Work, there's a lot of good demos on their YouTube channel if you want to check that out. And then finally, Claude Tag is a new thing. Apparently you can just like bring Claude into your Slack channel, start tagging it and using it as your employee, and replace your colleague, get a promotion. I'm just joking. Moving on, consumer AI is big now, where Apple is overhauling Siri. Apparently they're getting a new upgrade, and so it's going to be rolling out. Haven't used it. Siri has been kind of this thing that no one really trusts, but apparently they're really good now, so we'll see. And Meta announced their new AI glasses with a display. Snap announced these big glasses. They're like 2K, but apparently they're like state-of-the-art AR, so that's coming through. And a lot of startups are happening where they're using new hardware softwares. I just pre-ordered like this ring where you can like talk into it and it like dictates, we'll see how that goes. But a lot of these like cool hardware wearables are coming out, and I think that's gonna be the new trend of like the future of like where is wearables going. And funny enough, I think OpenAI just got sued yesterday by Apple because their like hardware division led by John Ive is having some like trade secret stuff. So all that points to like wearable is the future. People are competing, dogs are fighting. Creative AI is becoming a serious media production category. I was at this conference called AI on the Lot a couple months ago, and all these studios were demoing all these ways to use generative AI in like the latest like studio kind of VFX workflows, and they were actually insane. They would demo like 2 different videos which were basically identical and say like, this was our $1.5 million production 2 years ago, and this is our 30K AI production. And so you kind of know where the ball is moving in that industry. Google just announced a partnership with A24 to start using their Gemini Omni into kind of media production. If you've seen Seed Dance, you've seen all these crazy animation videos and also celebrity replica videos. Those are really progressing to the point of passing the uncanny valley. GPT Image 2 is still state-of-the-art, really good. And now Adobe, Flora, all these different creative platforms are announcing agentic studios for you to do all kinds of editing and production. And then on the design side of things, I think the new generation of design tools that you guys are probably interested in are coming out, like Paper, Pencil, Magic Path, where it's all about, chat can't really do all the design decisions, so agents are now on the spatial canvas. So I'm sure you've used different Figma, like AI tools, but basically the canvas and the code base are kind of merging. And a lot of it is becoming like interactable, like HTML, CSS. I think Magic Path is like, they use React as their base. So a lot of cool tools to really like upgrade your design flow. So I urge you to check them out. Infrastructure is another big thing. TL Draw has become like the main infrastructure to power a lot of these like app launching, Replit, lovable type websites. So anyway, I think the designer's job is now shifting from like going the pixel level granular thing to like really letting agents handle the details while humans are making the high level like, ambiguity decisions, kind of, seeing different variants generated by AI, comparing the different directions, focusing more on the strategy. And so it's an interesting time. Obviously, you guys know more, so we'll let the demo people talk about how they use AI. Finally, Frontier Labs are also coming in. Cloud Design has their own workflow that I, as an engineer, have been really leaning into heavily. It's really cracked. It's really good to just like import your code base and tell it to redesign it. And it does a really good job, especially if you start using Fable 5. And incumbents have come through, Adobe, Canva, but instead of building competitors, they're now building connectors, which are kind of like MCP/skills that are built inside of Cloud Design, because they just realize if this is gonna be the main gateway interface at which people use design, we wanna be a part of it, we don't wanna fight against it. So anyway, all that is to say, MCPs and skills are becoming a huge interop layer where you really want to build those and plug them into ChatGPT because that's the new kind of like Google basically, and you want to be on the next Google. I won't go through the next slide, but if you want to just take a look at all the different tools that's been coming out and that you want to check out at your own pace, you can, I guess, take a photo of this and go have at it. And yeah, now I will stop yapping, but that was kind of this month in AI. Hope that was helpful. Cool.